Ball State women's basketball is back in the gym less than a month away from the start of their season. The Cardinals lost 4 of their top 5 scorers, returning only 3 upperclassmen. While young faces are expected to fill big roles, the goal is still the same: the NCAA tournament.
We have 6 incoming kids, but the talent level is just as high, if not higher, than it was last year. So we're ready to go. We have a lot of our stuff in, and we just have to play hard, because if we play hard and we use our talent, there's a lot of games that we're going to be in and we're going to win even early on.
I feel like with this group, we're a little bit ahead of the curve, even though we've got so many new kids, and I think we're all ready to go play somebody. But we got a lot of things we got to do before we get to that point.
Ball State's young talent might not have to win the MAC to make the NCAA tournament. The Cardinals play at least 5 games against tournament teams from last year. That experience might open up another way for Ball State to make it into the big dance.
We showed last year that there's a couple ways to get to the big dance, and I think our league's in a spot now where we should be thinking of at large. And if you look at what we're doing with our non-conference schedule, if we can win those games and play well in them, we'll have ourselves in a position to think at large. And so that's where I think our program is right now, whether we're young, whether we're old, whatever. I think we're thinking about the big picture, and getting to that NCAA tournament is definitely the goal.
Ball State kicks off their season Wednesday, November 7th as they host Purdue. In Muncie, Ben Schueren, Newslink, Indiana. It was win or go home on Sunday for Ball State women's soccer in their quarterfinal match against Buffalo. The Cardinals and Bulls traded set-piece goals to send the game into overtime tied at 1. In the end, it was Paola Guerrero's free kick that sealed the victory for Ball State.
When the referee called out the foul, I was like, that's my spot. I've been practicing right there in practices, so I just felt confidence to step up and take the shot. I was just trying to hit a really driven shot, and it just went in.
The wind was the X factor in the game for both teams. With sustained winds over 30 miles an hour, all 3 goals were scored going with the wind.
It's still very windy, and it definitely affected the outcome of the game in regards to what was going to happen with the tail of the 2 halves. And I think obviously we found it hard the second half with going against the wind, and Buffalo utilised it. And then it was just a case of when we got into overtime period of getting our opportunity to do the same thing when you have that wind advantage.
We knew that the wind was going to be one of the conditions. In the first part of the overtime, we knew we were just trying to get away with the balls, because they were sending long balls all the time, and we just tried to keep the ball on the ground.
Ball State moves on to the MAC tournament semifinals this Friday, taking on Western Michigan in Bowling Green, Ohio. In Muncie, Ben Schueren, Newslink, Indiana. Ball State football wrapped up their non-conference schedule on Saturday, falling to Western Kentucky 28-20. Both teams' stats are nearly identical, with both the Cardinals and Hilltoppers totaling over 400 yards in offense. In the end, it was Western Kentucky outscoring Ball State 14-7 in the fourth quarter that made the difference. Cardinals head coach Mike New can't help but be disappointed in letting a pivotal win slip away.
Simply too many things that we left on the field that we need to clean up. We talked about making sure that each guy took ownership and dominating his performance, meaning dominating whatever his job is. Make sure you do it to the best of your ability. And we left some plays on the field.
One thing that Ball State needs to clean up is their penalties. The Cardinals committed 10 penalties for 120 yards, including 4 in the fourth quarter.
When you're facing, long yardage situation, it's tough. There's not very many plays on your sheet other than saying, man, we just got to get the ball in his hands, or if you throw it down the field, the one time it was long yardage, we got a pass interference on that Justin drew there. So those are tough. Those are tough situations to be in, because dialing up a pass play and thinking, man, I'm going to get 15, 18, 19 yards, whatever it is. Those are tough.
Ball State will look to avenge their loss this Saturday as they host Kent State in their MAC opener. In Muncie, I'm Ben Schueren, Newslink, Indiana. Ball State men's basketball fell to 24th ranked Purdue this past Saturday, 84-75. While the Cardinals were unable to upset the Boilermakers, there are plenty of positives for the team moving forward. Ball State football had to be feeling good last week after a close loss to number 8 Notre Dame. But that feeling did not last long, as another tough in-state opponent in Indiana loomed in the near future. To Bloomington we go, as Ball State's opening drive taken deep into IU territory, but had to settle for a Morgan Hagee field goal. 3-0 Cards. To the second, IU up 10-3, and this is Jay Sean Harris making people miss, finding the hole. He's going to the house. 86 yards to put IU up 17-3, Hoosiers take a 24-3 lead to the half. Late in the third, Ball State is going to be in garbage time, down 31-3. James Gilbert isn't quitting though. Bounces this one to the outside, 26 yards for 6, cutting the deficit to 21. But ultimately, Ball State falls to IU 38-10, dropping them to 1-3 record on the season. Taking a look at the stats from Indiana to Notre Dame, Ball State's offense stayed just about the same in total yards, but they gained 20 more yards on the ground. Real story is though defense. The Cardinals only forced 1 turnover against the Hoosiers and did not have 1 sack. Ball State looks to close out their non-conference schedule on a winning note this Saturday as they host Western Kentucky. We have some breaking news out of Ball State football as quarterback Riley Neal and running back James Gilbert are transferring. A source close to the team says that the transfers come in light of the coaching staff not taking some players seriously and a lack of making needed adjustments after losses. Neal started the year as Ball State's starting quarterback, leaving Ball State 3rd in career passing yards and career touchdowns. Gilbert rushed for 659 yards during the 2018 season, while also leaving tied for 5th in career rushing touchdowns and 7th in career rushing yards. Of course, this news comes on the same day in which Athletic Director Beth Getz announced that Mike New would be the head football coach next season.